Welcome back to the Homespun Annie channel. So it seems that spring has finally arrived here in North Idaho. We have had a lot more sunshine and the temperatures have gotten up into the 40s during the day. And the snow is quickly melting. So that's very exciting. I am very ready for spring to be here. That doesn't mean that it still can't snow. The possibility of snow is still there, but we seem to be trending towards spring. So, and definitely feels like spring is in the air. And Luke and I were talking about how we stepped outside the other day and you could actually smell everything. So you could smell the dirt and the mud and the trees and the air, there's just, you could smell everything. Things weren't frozen anymore. So it's very exciting, and there's zero ice left on the river. And one of my favorite things is seeing the sunlight sparkling on the water. So I'm also starting to think about my garden and getting my vegetable started in my little grow light in the garage. But yesterday I decided to try out a new recipe, one that I've never made before, but I had it saved on my Pinterest, and it is homemade Milano cookies. And so yesterday I finally decided to give it a try, and I have to say they turned out absolutely lovely, and I would almost say that they tasted better than the store-bought Milano cookies. And maybe better isn't quite the right word, but definitely fresher, if that makes sense. And anyway, but I thought they were absolutely lovely, and they definitely satisfied that little bit of a craving for Milano cookies. And I always love finding ways to recreate at home certain things that you'd usually just buy them store-bought, because then you can actually control the ingredients and you know exactly what's going into whatever it is, the cookie, the recipe, whatever it might be. So I had a lot of fun trying out this recipe. And the cookie part of it, they turned out very delicate and crisp, which was really nice. And I used a piping bag to pipe the little cookie shapes out onto the cookie sheet. And I only had 12-inch pastry bags, and I really needed a bigger one. And I just decided to try and fit all of the the cookie dough into the one pastry bag, and it was a little full. So I definitely need to get some bigger pastry bags. But here you can see I'm piping it out onto the cookie sheet. I put parchment paper down. And so just kind of tried to recreate the little Milano cookie shape. And my piping skills definitely need a little bit of practice. There you can see the dough kind of coming out of the top of the bag because it was so full. So I always like to say that when things are uneven in my baking, I always like to just call them rustic. And so I wouldn't have won any kind of star baker or anything for the uniformity of my cookies, but I would say they were definitely still very charming and very rustic. And of course, they still tasted good. And so here I'm using a double boiler to make the chocolate ganache that goes in between the cookies. And this was also my very first time making a ganache. And so I was very pleasantly surprised at how easy it was. I had no idea. I thought making a ganache was something very complicated, but it's really not. So I just used regular semi-sweet chocolate chips and heavy cream and melted that all together in a double boiler. And it turned out, as far as I know, since I'm not a professional about making ganache, but it turned out lovely. And then I waited for it to cool completely. And there you can see the little cookies. And then, after the ganache was cooled, then I put it in between the cookies and pressed them down. And then, as time went on too, the ganache in between the cookies got a bit firmer. Because at first it was pretty soft, but then it got to a really nice texture that was a lot firmer. So I tried to pick the little cookies that were close enough in shape to pair up, but yeah, these are so simple and easy to make, and definitely worth making at home. I'm actually thinking these would be a really fun cookie to make at Christmas time too, and to be part of, like, when you give somebody, when you share Christmas cookies with people at Christmas, these would be a fun cookie to have. Because you can also use a peppermint extract in the ganache and make the chocolate ganache peppermint flavored as well. So, but here they are. They're so much fun, and I will link the recipe down below so you can try them out too. But then later on that evening, my husband and I had a date night, a much needed date night, and we drove up to Sandpoint to one of our favorite restaurants called the Fat Pig. And here's one of our appetizers. We love to get their they have pickled egg that you can get. And then also another appetizer was the pork belly that we always enjoy. It's so good. I've been trying to recreate that recipe at home. And then, of course, because it was St. Patrick's Day, the special was corned beef and cabbage. And so we each got that for our dinner. And then some creme brulee for dessert. And then there was this high school that was going around all the restaurants trying to make money for a trip they wanted to go on. And so they sang for us, and that was really fun. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And also share this video with somebody that you think might also enjoy it. And I will talk to you guys in the next video.